We're living in the noisiest era in human history. Notifications, screens, tabs, messages, they're always calling for us. And in the middle of all that noise, we've been told that multitasking is the answer. A skill, a flex, a productivity superpower. But the truth is simpler and far more uncomfortable. You're not multitasking. You're task switching. And every switch carries a cost you don't see, not until it's too late. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on that myth and rediscovering the quiet power that can reshape your mind, your momentum, and your life. Science calls it attention residue, the mental leftovers that remain when your brain jumps from one task to another. Imagine your mind is a glass of clear water. Each switch, each time you just check your phone, reply to a message, peek at another tab. It's like dropping a tiny amount of ink into that water. One distraction isn't fatal, but dozens, hundreds every single day? The water turns cloudy. Your thinking blurs. Your creativity slows. Your clarity fades. And yet you feel busy. You feel active. You feel like you're doing so much. But busy doesn't mean productive. Movement doesn't mean progress. Noise doesn't mean meaning. In fact, switching between tasks makes you 40% less efficient, according to multiple cognitive studies. 40%. Not because you're not smart, but because your brain isn't built to parallel process complex tasks. It can only focus deeply on one thing at a time. Everything else is just an illusion. But if multitasking is such a lie, why do we keep falling for it? Because distractions give us dopamine, tiny hits of novelty, quick sparks of excitement, the rush of checking something. We're not addicted to our phones. We're addicted to switching. Every ping, every red bubble, every new tab promises something new, a microdose of stimulation that feels productive, even when it's quietly draining your cognitive battery. We learn to fear silence. We avoid stillness. We resist spaces where our thoughts slow down because we've trained ourselves to crave constant input. But the more we feed this loop, the harder real focus becomes. Maybe you felt it. That moment where you sit down to work and your mind keeps buzzing. You open one tab, then another, then another. 5 minutes pass, then 15, then an hour, and somehow nothing real gets done. Or maybe you've tried reading a page of a book, only to realize you've read the same sentence 9 times. That's not laziness. That's not a lack of discipline. That's a mind stretched too thin by constant fragmentation. Clarity isn't something you find. It's something you protect. And in a world obsessed with stimulation, protecting your attention is an act of rebellion. This is where deep work enters the story. Cal Newport defines it as the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. It sounds simple. It isn't. Deep work is quiet. It's slow. It's deliberate. It's the opposite of everything the modern world rewards. But it is where your best ideas live, where mastery is forged, where breakthroughs are born. You cannot create something meaningful when your attention is shattered. You cannot think deeply while living shallowly. You cannot expect clarity when you invite chaos into your mind every 10 minutes. Depth requires space, and space requires intention. There's a moment, if you've ever entered true flow, you know it, when the world outside fades. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts sharpen. Time feels different, either faster or slower, but never normal. It's like dropping beneath the surface noise of life and entering deeper waters. This is where you do your best thinking. This is where real creativity happens. This is where you finally hear the ideas that were always trying to reach you but could never compete with the noise. Deep work doesn't just make you more productive. It makes you more you. There's a version of you, not louder, not faster, but clearer. The version who wakes up a little earlier, who sits with a single task long enough to finish it, who chooses depth over noise, who builds things from intention, not impulse. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to delete your apps or escape the world. You just have to choose your mind over your impulses a little more often. Multitasking makes you feel fast. But the truth is, it slows you down. Multitasking keeps you busy. Deep work makes you brilliant. Deep work feels slow. But the truth is, it makes you unstoppable. You don't need more hours. You need more depth, more silence, more intention, more single-pointed focus on the things that matter. Your attention is the most precious currency you have. Spend it wisely, guard it fiercely, and give it only to what deserves it. Because in the end, you don't rise because you multitask. You rise because you go deeper. Go deeper. That's where greatness begins.